Alright man, peace. So brothers, this video right here is going to be the latest entry into the series Never Fight Over a Woman. And this edition, which I'm sure many of you brothers out there are already fully aware of, is going to feature none other than Mr. Tristan Thompson, the current, I won't necessarily say star power forward, but the current power forward with the Boston Celtics, relatively world-renowned for being on the 2016 Cleveland Cavaliers team led by LeBron James and Kyrie Irving, who were able to make the comeback from down 3-1 against the Golden State Warriors. He now has relegated himself to a quote-unquote reality TV show star, being aligned with Miss Khloe Kardashian, a member of the Kardashian witch coven, and also Mr. Lamar Odom, the former teammate of the high-level Luciferian Kobe Bean Bryant, who himself might be, I won't necessarily say a quote-unquote victim of the MKUltra program, but there is a relatively high possibility. Please keep in mind that Lamar Odom grew up also with Mr. Ron Artest. I believe that they played on the same AAU team, and I do think that Ron Artest, beyond a shadow of a doubt in my mind, was raised up in the programming. Ron Artest, by the way, also had associations with Mr. Kobe Bean Bryant. He was a member of that 2010 LA Lakers team. I think that Lamar was on that squad as well, who were able to defeat the Boston Celtics in the finals. Well, anyway, strangely enough, Mr. Lamar Odom and Mr. Tristan Thompson have formed this conjunction where they both seem to be mutually obsessed with Khloe Kardashian for whatever reason. Could be that her witchcraft powers have been able to afford her the opportunities to cast very powerful spells on them both. Please keep in mind that the power of witchcraft is a very real thing, especially for those who are not privy to the prominence and the power of the Most High and His Son. If you don't understand the scriptures, if you're not called, if you're not of the elect, the powers of witchcraft will hold a certain level of authority over you. As Mr. Obi-Wan Kenobi stated in the film Star Wars: A New Hope, the Jedi mind trick worked on the weak-minded. The Jedis were witches. They were just so-called good witches. But just to get back to the point of this video, brothers, we're never supposed to fight over a woman. Now, fighting for your woman and fighting for your family, that's a totally different thing. God forbid your woman or your child might get attacked by someone in the middle of the street. You might have to defend them. Who the hell knows what could happen tomorrow? But one of the main differences between a wife and a concubine is that a wife is never going to allow her man to be placed in the position where he feels compelled to have to fight over her because of the overtures that she's receiving from another man. The vast majority of these Western civilization females, they're overly addicted to attention to the point where they allow it to spill over into their personal life and affect their relationships. They love to have the guy from work who they're texting or messaging on some type of social media platform. They have the ex-boyfriend who they're still in contact with, the baby daddy, the guy who took their virginity in high school or junior high school, who is still infatuating over them, and they might still be infatuating over. They might be the guy who they met in their comings and goings at the grocery store, on the bus, on the train, or what have you. These women are all over the place. So the point being is this: when you see that the woman has no regard for you or your relationship, that's pretty much a hint for you to understand that she's either a concubine or you must cut her off immediately. The vast majority of trouble that you will get into over your life will be the over interest that you pay or the over attention that you pay to the woman. Drama, theatrics are going to be associated with the vast majority of females that you encounter in your life. Every once in a while you'll come across a good to great female, aka a real woman, and in those times you have to conduct yourself accordingly. Hopefully you won't blow it. But there is a very, very visceral difference between a wife material woman and a concubine material woman. There are high-level concubines who can trick you or convince you that they're a wife material woman, but they'll always show you by their actions. A wife material woman is not supposed to be exchanging numbers with random men. I don't care how she tries to define it. Oh, well, he's just a friend. He's just an associate from work and all these other things. No, she's letting you know who and what she really is, and you must pay attention. These things I tell you so that hopefully you can avoid getting into altercations with men fighting over a woman. You never fight over a woman. If the female is showing you that she's willing to execute or utilize her options, you should extricate yourself from that situation immediately, because I promise you, over the course of 2021 heading into 2022, you can take the amount of so-called black men who are going to be killed in quote-unquote black-on-black crime, add them to the amount of so-called black men who get killed over gang violence, add them to the amount of so-called black men who get killed over the drug trade, add them to the amount of so-called black men who get killed by the police, add them to the amount of so-called black men who get killed in car accidents, fighting overseas for the U.S. military. Add all those black men together, and they will not equal the amount of so-called black men who will be killed this year over a woman. I promise you that. And it appears that Mr. Tristan Thompson, at least he appears to be talking as if he's ready to kill Mr. Lamar Odom over Khloe Kardashian, a female who appears to be done with them both. But anyway, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
All right, moving on to a love triangle involving a Kardashian and a former and a current NBA star. So this is a really juicy story, guys. So
for whatever reason, it appears as though Mr. Lamar Odom just could not let this funny looking bitch go. I mean, I just don't see it. I'm sorry. I don't care how nice she is, how supportive she is. And that's something also that always has to be considered. Many times we'll look at the outside and say, what is it about this female where this guy just cannot let her go? A lot of times it's just that they're nice people. There are so few modern day females that are actually legitimately nice or good people. A lot of them use fake niceties as a facade, but underneath all that, they're a narcissistic bitch. A lot of these guys come across females who are legitimately nice, and it's like they won't let them go for the world. To actually be with someone who actually knows how to treat a man and does not view a man as, you know, just another accessory like a purse or a pair of shoes, which is how most modern day females view men. Something to be acquired because they appear to look nice initially, but after you're bored with that accessory, you discard it. A lot of these men, they come across what appears to the outside world to be an average to sub-average looking woman, but inwardly she compensates for her lack of exterior appeal by actually being a kind person, because she has to be. If she's not, she'll never get or keep a man. So is that the case with Khloe Kardashian? Maybe, who knows? We also know that she's had a lot of plastic surgery done on herself to make her appear to be more appealing, especially to so-called black men. But either way, this cat Lamar Odom, he just can't let it go.
Thompson and Lamar Odom both want Khloe Kardashian. Now, let's back up a little bit to only Friday.
Now, this right here is Tristan Thompson with the seemingly new and improved Khloe Kardashian. You know, with the lip fillers and the plastic surgery to remove a lot of the fat deposits around her waist, make her ass appear larger. She's also wearing, of course, the shimmering silver, which represents her as Pandora. We recently went over that in one of the morning chat video series that I did. The shimmering silver also represents, of course, the mother goddess archetype, the moon goddess. That's what Pandora was. And also Diana, aka Artemis, or the huntress goddess. And you know, when it comes to these modern day females, what are they hunting for? They're hunting for men who don't really understand or comprehend what this world is about. The Kardashians, they need prominent male figures for their energy, as this entire society does. Not just the so-called Caucasian woman, but all demographics, they prey on the energy that is created and emanating from the so-called black man. Whether it be in the sports world, the entertainment industry, or just the level of masculinity. You know, what they might call from a hormonal perspective, a higher level of testosterone. It's really just a higher level of spiritual energy that the so-called black man creates. That's why he's the prime target for people like the Kardashians.
Posted an absolutely gorgeous photo.
I don't know why they're blacking out this broad's ass for. I mean, it's illegal to show the profile of somebody's ass on TV now? Since when?
So great in this photo, and Tristan Thompson and Lamar Odom both agreed with me because they both commented. Lamar wrote "hottie" with every emoji under this.
Now look at this right here. It's very obvious that Mr. Lamar Odom believes that he has the opportunity to get back with Khloe Kardashian because currently she appears to be on the outs with Tristan Thompson. If I'm Tristan Thompson, I'm looking at what Lamar Odom is doing and wondering why this guy was never blocked in the first place. Why was he never blocked? You never had a child with him. You guys are not together. Why are you still allowing him to communicate with you? Even if you're going to say that, well, this is my social media, I want to make it public. If you really value and truly value the quote-unquote sanctity of your relationship with Tristan Thompson, then you would block someone who he feels like is threatening you guys' relationship. Of course, the average modern liberal female is going to claim that that man is showing signs of jealousy. That term jealousy is thrown around by the modern liberal female to try to shame the man or the male into staying in his place. You as a man have to see what she's trying to do, which is really just open up the avenue for some type of mutual combat between men for her own entertainment, and remove yourself immediately. There is no female worth fighting over, not one, not even close to one. Because at the end of the day, what the vast majority of these liberal females have in common is that there's a third dude that neither one of these clowns know about. And while they're busy trying to kill each other over this broad, she's sucking the rod of some third guy. Who the hell knows who that is?
Tristan Thompson likewise put 2 hearts and some other emojis. Both obviously thought that Chloe looked great. Well, somebody took umbrage with Lamar's message, none other than Tristan Thompson, who is not happy that Lamar is going after his ex, who he just broke up with. Look.
You know, one thing that brothers have to stop doing, they have to stop bluffing. Don't put words like this out there unless you understand the repercussions of what you're saying. When you threaten someone's life or appear to or talk tough in this way, you have to be prepared for the reciprocity, for the reciprocation, for someone to come back at you in that same vein. And is it really worth it over that female? Is any female out here worth you losing your life over, other than maybe your daughter, your wife, while protecting their lives from an assailant? Your sister, your mother, people like that. The average $2 hoe out here who's out, trying to make sure that she can garner as much attention as possible, and who's being relatively successful in doing so. Do you want to get into a back and forth or striving with a man who's basically hearkening unto the mating call of a woman that you take far too seriously? I guarantee you it's not worth it.
Had got back together, and then the relationship ended only a few months ago. So this is very fresh for Tristan, and Tristan clapped back what a lot of people have said was either a veiled threat or just a flat-out threat, period.
Well, no, there's nothing veiled about this threat. This is a flat-out threat. The dude said God brought you back the first time. Play if you want different results. I mean, what else could he possibly be trying to imply? Other than he's trying to act tougher than he actually is. I'm not quite sure if he understands Lamar Odom or where he comes from, but that's not something to do unless you plan on backing it up.
God brought you back the first time. Play if you want different results. Obviously alluding to Lamar Odom. Remember, Lamar came as close to dying as you possibly could come after visiting that brothel a few years back in Nevada, Dennis Hoff's brothel. Lamar Odom, thankfully, he was able to survive somehow, some way. But it seems like Tristan Thompson saying, you made it one time when you shouldn't have. Don't play with me. Or, I don't know, your life could be over. I don't know how else to interpret it. Well,
there is no other way to interpret it. Brothers, once again, man, we truly have to start keeping things in their proper perspective, especially pertaining to quote-unquote relationships. Everything is finite in this quote-unquote reality that we live in. No one is really held accountable for what they do or how changeable they are, aka how disloyal they are. Loyalty and disloyalty as concepts are no longer operational. They're just theoretical. You understand? They're just terms and ideas that people opine about. They don't actually implement or execute or live out. Because loyalty, what's essentially or intrinsically connected to the concept of loyalty is sacrifice. Most people don't want to sacrifice. If Tristan Thompson was someone with understanding, he would know that if Khloe Kardashian actually cared about him to the degree that he's acting like he cares about her, she would have blocked any man who she thought could possibly provoke jealousy in him. Now, of course, many people are going to say, what are you talking about, Chronicles? This guy, Tristan Thompson, has been sleeping around on Khloe Kardashian for the longest time. That's their business. No one knows what their arrangement actually is. What I do know is this. For Tristan Thompson to get that upset over Lamar Odom, and his comment tells me that Tristan Thompson believes that he and Khloe Kardashian are either still together or that they have the opportunity and the chance to get back together. So if he believes that, he needs to be more open in his communication with her so that he can understand where she stands in this overall situation. Are you going to continue to allow this person, Lamar Odom, to have open access to you? Or are you going to do what you're supposed to do if you're serious about our relationship and block any person who appears to be, who appears to have the intent to dissolve what we're trying to maintain? And that's when you learn about who you're actually with. Do they choose you or do they choose the attention? 99 times out of 100, these modern day females, they're going to choose the attention. So don't get your feelings hurt.
You know, I'm a part of the TMZ family officially now. If I'm talking about the Kardashians.
Yeah, there you go. Welcome, Mojo. You're in now. You're official, bro.
Well, shoot, man. I don't know. This is a brutal one. You know, Lamar was with her before. I mean, he's got to know when you're going to comment on a picture like that, especially saying something like that. The current man isn't going to appreciate this too much.
Right, but is Tristan Thompson still the quote-unquote current man, or is he just someone who thinks that he's in the picture when he's really not? I constantly state this. A woman who no longer likes you is worse than a woman who never liked you. Know when it's over and move forward. Not just women, but people, period, are like light switches. After a while, you keep giving someone a certain amount of opportunities or chances, or you keep noticing a certain component in their personality spectrum. You're going to say to yourself after a while, okay, this person just is who they are, and I don't like them anymore. And once that light switch switches off, it's almost impossible to get it back on. Almost impossible. So a lot of times you have to just understand the terrain that you're trying to traverse and just accept it for what it is. Might be too rocky. Take a different path. Find a different person. Or take time by yourself to become a better person.
Anticipate the clap back. Was it too much? I don't know. This is a sticky situation right here. What do you think, Ray?
Oh man, listen. First of all, the way Tristan clapped back, that was a big viral moment as well because it was spirited. Even on the show, he said something about it in one of their confessionals. I mean, you gotta know that's coming, but Lamar.
Tristan is such an idiot though. Like again, you don't understand Lamar Odom. You don't know who he is or where he come from. And Tristan is a real dingbat. Like he's a type, come to New York, play the Knicks, or come to New York, play the Brooklyn Nets and go out to the club and not understand that, them Queens niggas will be out there hunting his ass, man. Looking for him just because of what he said about Lamar. Cats come to these different cities, they get stuck up all the time. And that's just because, they high posting on the gram or something. Like, you start talking like that and you visit the city and next thing you know, niggas are scoping you out. That's not a smart move. Never ever say things that you're not willing to do. Or at least try to move away from that. Because cats get killed every day on that bluff shit. Like, stop bluffing people.
Boxing fight, so he might be feeling a little froggy and want to leap. So listen, another celebrity fight in the making. I don't know. I'd watch it.
We should say this because there was.
Well, we should not be encouraging that. These are two grown so-called black men. Mr. Lamar Odom, he needs to understand and accept that it's over. She does not want him anymore. And that brings me to another point. That plan B mentality. I don't mind being plan B. I don't mind being the person who's always here waiting in the wings for you to go out there and live out your adventurous life. And when you finally get bored and you can't find your plan A, then I'll be here waiting for you. What does that say about you? There's a lot of guys out here like that, with that plan B mentality. You can't be a so-called quote-unquote alpha, as they call it, and be that person who's waiting for some bitch to sow her wild oats out here in these streets, spreading her coochie lips. like it's you know, some type of condiment on a bagel. She's spreading her coochie, look like it's whipped cream on a bagel, and then come back to you with a gaping hole between her legs and exhaustion, talking about, okay, I'm ready, I'm yours. Get the fuck out of here. You sitting back saying, yes, baby, let's get married. Got the sperm of 57 niggas doing the breaststroke in your woman's coochie, and you talking about let's get married. Nigga, please.
Lamar, that his motive might not have only been to say, hey, Chloe, you look hot, but he might have been taking a shot at Tristan Thompson for some reason because they had some sort of beef. Well, we talked to people very close to Lamar, and they wanted to make it abundantly clear that this had nothing to do with Tristan Thompson. There was no beef. There were no shots being taken from Lamar over Tristan's way. This was simply about Lamar Odom seeing Chloe single and wanting to get his wife, because they were married, remember, get his old wife back. So I have a feeling that this one is far from over. Maybe Chloe doesn't want to date either of them, but
I promise you that that's the case. That's probably the smartest thing that I've ever heard you say, Babcock. That she doesn't really want either one. That's why she posted that photo on the gram in the first place. That photo basically was meant to, you know, to elicit the response of, look at the goddess in full form. Look at me, I'm free. I can do whatever I want to do. Please understand that the woman is a creature of options. When she uses the term love, what she's really talking about is infatuation. Once her infatuation wears off, she's going to weigh her options. It's not going to be a matter of quote unquote loyalty, i.e. staying